Hello traders, welcome to the look ahead. This is for the week of April 22nd, Earth Day, and going to look ahead for this coming week and some possibilities of what might happen. Now, I haven't done one of these for a while, and the reason for that is pretty much our targets came into play and we were waiting for some resets, and everything pretty much panned out the way we explained it in our previous videos, so no sense rehashing it. I like to start with dollar yen today because dollar yen has broken out. We were long this, got the long on the breakout. I am looking for somewhat of a pullback, not necessarily this far, but looking for a little bit more up here, probably to about a 155.16 area or so forth, and see if we pull back there. Now, if we don't pull back there, I'm just going to keep this on up to a level of about 157.71. If we do pull back, then I'm going to add to it. So if we pull back in the neighborhood of somewhere around 152.60 to 153.50, somewhere in there, I'm going to begin to add to this and look for a swing up to a higher target point of 157.70. So that's what I'm looking for dollar yen. Moving into, I don't know if we get that this week. We may get the pullback this week, but I don't know if we'll get the target this week, but that'll be in the coming weeks, okay? Next, we're going to take a look at gold. So gold was a no-brainer. It was in this range. We talked about it breaking out, and it did break out, and it hit up to the 7.8, and we took it at a 1.5, which is 23.47. So we had a couple of targets on this. We had a 21.94 and second target was 23.47. We took gold at those spots. We are now clean, have gold cleaned off. Do I think it goes higher? Yes, I do. What I want to see though is a little bit of a reset here, okay? For the larger fib, we went up to 1.585, and that's a pretty big spot along with the 1.78. If it breaks those levels, yes, it's going to continue up further. It could even go up to 25.90, okay? But right now we're taking profits, did very, very well on this, one of the great trades of the year, and we're going to stay flat, and we are going to get some ranging here in this area here. But yeah, gold was quite a trade, and but staying flat on it right now. Way back we had oil pushing up and into the 83 zone. It has since broken that 83 zone right here, and it has pushed all the way up to the 87 spot. Now, what do we see oil doing here now? Well, there's a lot of conflicts going on, but I'm looking for those conflicts to die out, and I'm looking for now oil to make a move back down, which it is doing. Where does oil go to? Let's just take a look at a couple of places where oil could head to. Looking at the overall picture, we're going to go out to the weeklies to do this. You see that oil is in a range. So let's go ahead and remove these, and we're going to look at this. You see that oil is in a range. And what's interesting about this is you have this low here, and you have a higher low here. And this is the high here. So what could oil do if we have this lower high right here? Well, naturally, we could see oil pull back here and then continue up to a higher high here, all right? So how would we kind of lay that out? Well, we just take a channel and kind of do this, and then take another channel and kind of do this. And what we want to see is where our fib lands at that. So if we do continue up, then that's going to land right up here at 103 would be target for oil going forward, okay? And if we compare that to oil's high and bring it down to the low, and that puts us on the pullback right up in here of about the 61 fib, okay? So that being said, in my opinion, I think oil will go higher, all right? So I'm looking for oil to go higher, and possibly to that 103 zone. Again, we're not sure if we're going to do something like this. We could form a wedge in here like this, and we could go back and forth in here first, like this, before we break out and head to here. And that's something we need to be cautious of. So I'm not trading oil right now. Where do I trade oil at? I trade it either on a breakout of this level right here, or I trade it on a touch of this channel down here. One of those two is the safest place that I can think to take a trade on oil. So I'm going to wait for one of those two things to happen. Once it happens, I will then engage in a trade, okay? And I'm going to take profit at this level. If it goes long, I'm going to take profit at about 94, okay? So I'm going to take some profit there. And then if it breaks that 94 level, I'm going to add to the trade. I'm going to take the remaining profit at 103, okay? And that's what happens if it goes long. If it goes short, I'm going to wait for it to break, pull back, enter trade, and then take profit right about 50, a little longer than that, about 54, 55. But I believe oil will probably go long first before it goes short. Next, I know everyone's excited about Bitcoin. So I'll tell you where my view on Bitcoin is. We've been long this for the majority of the journey. We kind of sat back on it the last part of the journey, but we're looking now for Bitcoin. You see we're in a range here. We're long Bitcoin right now. So we're long at this level about here, 63.57 is where we're long at. And we're long it to 81 is where we're going with Bitcoin. So we're looking to be long Bitcoin to 81, okay? And that's this level right up here. Now, we're going to take some profits. Let's just bring this down here. We're going to take some profits at this level here. And we're going to wait for a pullback. So I'm going to look something like this. And then when it starts to reverse again, I'm going to add to it for the breakout. And then this, I'm going to add to it again. This, add to it again to target. Okay. Oops. And that's how we're going to play Bitcoin. But we're going to add, take away on this move up. Okay. So that's the view I have for Bitcoin. That's where we're going with it. And that's our play going into this week, next week. Again, this is a daily chart, so we might get up there this week. We might not, but we are long right now for it. Next, I'm going to take a peek at Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie. Now, looking at the chart right now as it stands on the daily, it's in a range, okay? So how are we going to play this? Well, there's a couple ways we can play it. One, if I see a break of this range here, and let me just go ahead and get out my drawing tool here. If I see a break of the range to the downside, I'm going to also have to break this channel going up in order for me to get involved. And so if that is the case, then I would be looking for something like this, a break, a retest, and then a continuation down, okay? So if I believe that this is going to head to the downside, that's the way I'm going to trade it. If I believe that we're going to break through, okay, to the top side, then what I would wait for is a break, a retest, and then a continuation, okay? And we'd be looking for a continuation to the upside, somewhere in the neighborhood about 1.75, okay? But that's what I'd be looking for to trade this. Trading it here in the ranges, you can do that tops and bottoms if you want to, but I would prefer a break so we could get a momentum move. And that's what we really want to be trading, is those momentum moves. We don't want to be in here with a bunch of noise, okay? So that's pretty much what I'm waiting for on Euro Aussie, and that's my outlook on it. On Pound Aussie, this is what we're looking for here. We have this channel right here, okay? So if it breaks that channel, we would be looking for something like this, something like that, and something like this, okay? So a break of this channel, we could trade this down to about 1.860 and then let it pull back and then trade it back down to about 1.83 and some change, okay? Now, if the opposite happens, if it comes down here and it reverses, Okay, then I'm going to look for something like this up to about 2.01, somewhere in that neighborhood is where I would look for pound Aussie to go to. Okay, so those are the two scenarios I'm looking at. Again, this is a very big area right here. It's coming to right here, very big area. So we're going to see what it does there. We're going to wait for a reversal signal both ways. So if it breaks and holds below, and that's a signal that we can manage. Okay, that's a trade we can manage. We can put a reasonable stop on that and a reasonable take profit, and vice versa. If it reverses to the top side, we can put a reasonable stop on it and a reasonable take profit. And so that's what we're looking for, is this zone right here. A reversal to the long side, we'll take it. A break and to the downside, we'll take it. That way we can manage our risk on this and get it one side or the other. But that's the way we're going to trade this moving forward this week. It should happen this week, so watch for that on pound Aussie. All right, looking at the NAS 100, we have no surprises here. It did hit the 27 and reversed nicely. It ranged up here, which is normal, but reversed nicely. So what are we looking for on this? Well, we got a kind of an updated day, but we're looking for something like this, maybe another lift here, and possibly a push down into here. Now, once we get down into there, there is a possibility that this could start reversing. Now, where do we want to reverse to? We want to break through here, here, and here. So we're looking for a final target of 19,832, all right? So today's the 22nd, and I make a prediction that this is going to go to 19,832. All right, now why is this? Why do I think this is going to happen? There are some fundamentals behind it, and those fundamentals really deal with the election. But we are in an election year. The election is in November. And so I would say that we continue into sell into May, possibly. We could even go a little bit further down in this, but I'm looking at these areas. These are areas of great interest to me. I'm looking, the Fed has been hawkish, and they've been back and forth, to be quite honest, but they've been recently hawkish because of some of the numbers that have come out. And what I believe is going to happen is those numbers are going to begin to change, and the Fed is going to become dovish again, or it's going to put on the table the prospects of definitely lowering rates this year. And markets are that's going to affect market behavior, and that's going to cause markets to then start to move up based on Fed lowering rates. All right. Now, hear me out here. This is good for everything. And the reason it's good for everything is this. When the Fed comes out and talks about lowering rates, that is an indication of deflation, okay? Of a deflationary cycle. That's a possibility. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's just that it's seeing that possibility, okay? The Fed doesn't actually do very much, doesn't do practically anything except affects behavior through interest rate policy, okay? What I see happening is that when the Fed starts to get dovish, markets go up, prices begin to come down. That makes everyone more, let's say, they're accepting of the current administration policy. And the current administration can come out and say, look, our policies are working. Our financial policies are working. Things are getting better. And look at the prices are starting to come down. And look at the stock market is starting to go gangbusters. When really that has nothing to do with what's going on. All it's doing is foreshadowing a worse economic situation, a deflationary economic situation to come. But if you time these things right, you can get away with saying stuff like that. And I believe that's what the current administration is going to do. And it's going to add to their voter base, because their voter base is going to feel a little bit better when it comes around to election time, because we got a strong market. Prices are starting to come down. We'll see the housing market leveling off because rates in the housing market will start to come down. Everyone will feel a lot better about the economic situation coming around if this happens coming around election time. That's why I believe this is going to happen in this fashion. So I'm looking for the Fed to start to become dovish coming into this summer and hold a dovish tone through the summer and get even bigger dovish, be more dovish going into the fall for sure. Okay, so they may kind of hem-haw in the summertime, early summer, but as we go into that fall setting, they're going to be really hammering down on the dovish side of rates and talking about lowering rates. And I think that's going to paint a better economic picture for the Biden administration when they go and run their candidate. So we'll see how that pans out, but that's the way I believe it's going to go. And I do believe that the Nasdaq is going to hit 19,832 at least before we start to see a really large correction in the Nas. So keep that in mind. Again, kind of looking for the same thing for the S&P, looking for, something like this where we, it could be right here, or it could be down a little bit more and here, or down here and here. Okay. And then we would start to see a move to the top side, I believe, over the coming months, and eventually possibly a target up to about 58.54. Okay. So about 58, 54, 58, 56. That's where I look for the S&P to go to. And then look for a substantial correction there. So where does this leave the dollar at? Well, very interesting. Where does it leave the dollar at? Where do I hope it leaves the dollar at? Well, what I would like to see happen is I definitely like to see us reach this target, come back down, hit here, and something like this, and then like this, okay? So I believe the dollar is going to get as low as about 94. But first we come down to here and we see what happens here. It's going to have to break this channel in order to confirm a move to 94 or down in that zone 96. It's going to have to break that channel first to confirm that move. All right. So the story is this: if dollar holds, moves up and holds at this 108 spot, or if it just rolls over here now and dies and then pulls back and breaks this, I'm going to make a guess on this 101 mark and moves down, it's then going to push down to 94. So how do we trade this week? Well, I'm pretty much going to stay neutral, and the areas I'm going to look to trade it is pretty evident for right now. So I'm going to look for this area right here as a short. I'm going to then look at this area here as another short, okay? But a short down to this level here, then I want to see some sort of a pullback, and if we do get a roll on it and a break, I will, obviously trade it short, the pullback, and then continuation down. So that's what I see on dollar. Hopefully we make it down to that 96 zone, but we'll see. Things are iffy, and dollar shortage is huge, so we could break right up on through this. So if we do break up on through this, my plan is pull back long. Okay, we'll see when we get there, but take this a step at a time. So right now, if we break out of this, I would like to see a little bit bigger pullback here, but if we can pull back a little bit more, I'm going to say long dollar this week, okay, up to about 108 is how I'm going to play this. Okay, here we are at interest rates. I had interest rates pulling back and then heading down. They decided not to do that, and obviously we know why. And so what's going to happen now is there is a very strong possibility that interest rates head as high as 5.3, 5.4%. Oh my goodness gracious. That's really going to put the screws down on some people, right? And so I do see rates going there now at that level. And then after that, I see the drop. Now, could it range here until a drop? Yes, but I would prefer it to head on up to here. That way, it really puts in perspective everything. We get this going on for the rest of April, going into May, and then the Fed starts coming out and saying, hey, we're going to kind of loosen up here, and then we start to see rates fall, maybe something like this, and then the rates start to fall like that, okay? But let's keep our eye out on that, but that's what it looks like to me. Let's see if it comes to pass. But this concludes the look ahead. Hope this helps you out for looking ahead, planning ahead, what possibly could be coming up in the markets. Again, if you want to know more about this, if you want to know more about our plans where you can learn to either day trade or trade positions on markets, longer positions on markets, 7X Investors is the place to come. Set up your free account. Kick the tires, look around, see what fits your trading style. And we have mentorships in multiple programs. We also have places where we can put you on to automated trade systems to help you out until you learn this stuff, okay? So that's another option that you have while you learn to trade. You can make money trading while you learn it. So come in, check things out. Take care, and we shall talk to you later. Bye now.